So this is a special meeting, and we are going to open with a public hearing, and this is a public hearing to receive public testimony on ordinance number 15-0400, approving a development agreement with Bastyr University, contract number 15-C1446. Mrs. Bent, anything you want to say? So I will declare the public hearing open. Is there anybody in the audience wishing to comment?
There's no one signed up.
Is there anybody in the audience wishing to comment? So this is the public hearing to receive public testimony on ordinance number 15-0400, approving a development agreement with Bastyr University. Anybody wishing to be heard? Seeing nobody come forward to being heard on the public hearing, I declare the public hearing closed. Next item on the agenda is to adopt ordinance number 15-0400, approving a development agreement with Bastyr University, contract number 15-C1446. Anything, Mrs. Bent? Are there any questions? So the chair will entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 15-0400, approving a development agreement with Bastyr University, contract number 15-C1446.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Danuski?
Yes.
Councilmember Sperry is not here. Councilmember Curtis?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Herbig?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Van Ness?
Yes. Councilmember Sperry. Here we go.
Councilmember Sperry has just come in. So in fairness, nobody spoke at the public hearing. We are on item A in the business agenda. There was a motion, and it's been voted on, to adopt the ordinance number 15-0400, approving a development agreement with Bastyr University. And if you wish to vote on this...
Yes.
Okay, so, and that was a yes vote, I take it.
Correct. 7-0.
So, 7-0. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is to adopt resolution number 15-254, approving amendment number 1 to the Bastyr Ballfield lease agreement, contract number 09-C824. Anything you would like to add, Mrs. Bent?
No, not for questions.
Are there any questions? Councilmember Smith.
I have just a couple of things on it. One, it looked like it was cut off, so I don't know if there were pages. If you go to the end of the lease, at least what I showed, there was 12 pages, and it looks like it was cut off in mid-sentence, so I don't know if there was something else that was provided on the additional balance of the lease attachments. But one of the things that I recall is when we originally had the lease, it included a track, a loop track, for people to walk and or jog around that field space, and it's never been, to my knowledge, it's never been created. Are you aware of?
The lease agreement just speaks to the use of the athletic fields. The loop around the athletic fields was included as part of the master plan. It wasn't a condition of the lease agreement.
Well, if you, I remembered it went together, but if you do look at paragraph 1 under purpose on the lease agreement attachment, it does say in cooperative use of those certain athletic fields and track located on the Bastyr University campus. So, I mean, it's actually written right in there.
I don't think, my recollection is there wasn't a condition to build that facility as part of the lease. There is a loop around the field which was part of the master plan, but that loop has not been constructed.
Okay. So that was one thing, because I didn't, I mean, I was involved when, as I know Sheldon Haber, who's here now, was there too, and I do recall that the lease, it was kind of, or the track was sort of a big deal because it was open 24 hours and people could go up there and they'd have a place to walk, and for walkers and everything. And then the only other thing that I wanted to mention is it doesn't have any cost data, and I was curious, since we're changing the formula, I didn't know what we were getting versus what we were losing, and just understanding what those numbers are. And I don't know if that's I'm sure it's minimal, but I was just curious if you happen to know.
The lease amount, the annual lease that the city pays to Bastille remains the same through the extension of $50,000. The other difference, the current lease requires that Bastille submit 50% of the user revenues to the city. And the amendment now says that they only have to do that if the revenues exceed expenditures. So that's the change. I don't know the exact amount over the years that Bastille has provided, but I think I see Mr. Carl-Lindsay.
Well, I think as
wants
an
to
example, in
input.
2013, the number was approximately $5,000.
Okay.
And I'm looking to Sheldon. Yeah. So that's about the amount that we would not be receiving. The good news, though, is the $50,000 rent does stay the same, unchanged through 2025.
Okay. And lastly, do you happen to know if there were any other drainage? I know drainage had been an issue, and do you know if there had been any other drainage improvements done to the site?
They maintain the fields. They have a maintenance schedule, and so I think the last drainage issue was because of the heavy rainfall over the winter, which is sort of hard to believe if you look out the window today. So I think that the drainage issue has sort of been resolved. There is a requirement, I think at least once or twice a year, for Bastille staff to meet with city staff, and one of the topics of discussion is maintenance and how the fields are being maintained or any issues that they've addressed.
Okay, and I appreciate that. And I would say, though, that I just want it to be on record that we were always under the impression there was a walking track around it, and that has never changed, and I know it's never been constructed, but that was how it was conveyed to all of us, and it is written in the lease. So I think that's something that's worth noting.
If I can, why don't we do some more homework on that topic and see if we can consult with Rod Kasaguma and see if that track component is indeed enforceable in the lease, and we can report back to you.
Okay, thanks.
And then and thank you for that catch on the lease getting cut off at page 6 of the old lease. Just for the record, and so everybody's clear, it's the full lease that was adopted originally that you're extending. So I just want to make sure that that's clear on the record.
So how many pages was that? How many pages were cut off?
It's 9 pages.
Nine pages were cut off?
Well, it's a 9-page lease.
Oh, it's a 9-page lease, so about 3 pages were cut
3
off.
pages.
And just so you know, this is when I called you earlier today, Rob. This is what I was asking about. So it's only. I don't mean to make a big deal about it at the last minute. I just, unfortunately, we missed each other today, and so I appreciate that.
That's okay. Yeah.
So just basically then for completeness, those last 3 pages, is there a quick summary? Were they the legal ease that the city attorney likes to put in different things, or?
Oh, now, what the city manager is referring to is the actual lease that you are approving an amendment to is 9 pages and has some attachments. If the council would like to see it, I happen to have a full copy of the executed original lease in my folder, and maybe we could have a copy made for the council right now, if you'd like to see
So
it now.
was that the original lease that you
Yes,
saw the
the
pages
original
missing,
lease
or
was
the new
9
lease?
Yeah, it was the original lease, because
Okay.
the new part is just an amendment with a few changes, which that had no problem with. I wanted to make sure that since we've had almost 5 years on this, that we were everybody was in compliance.
So do you want to see those?
I remember basically what it said before, and I thought maybe there was something more on that track in those last 3 pages, but I don't recall if there was or not. I just know it was also on page 1.
Okay, so are you?
I'm comfortable
You're
with it.
comfortable, okay.
Mayor
Councilmember
Baker?
Curtis.
Well, just to comment, I guess for the completeness of the record, the 3 pages should be as part of this.
Yes, I do agree.
I don't think I wouldn't need it in paper now, but at
that-
least for the e-version.
Yeah, and that's where I was going eventually. So can we have those 3 pages to make sure they're into the record?
You bet, yes.
Any other questions?
Mayor Baker?
Yes,
I could answer Councilmember Smith's question,
certainly.
because it's actually can be answered from the pages that you do have in the packet. If you look at page 1, in the first section, the purpose section, it says the parties recognize the mutual benefits which may be derived from a joint and cooperative use of those certain athletic fields and track located on the campus as more fully described in Exhibit A and Exhibit B. And then it defines those items as the facilities with a capital F. Then if you go to paragraph 3 on page 2, that paragraph provides that the tenant, which is the city, and the general public shall have the right to use the facilities as presently constructed or as improved in the future. Well, it includes the tract in the term facilities, and the city and the public have a right to use those facilities as they were constructed in 2009 or as improved in the future. I don't know for a fact whether the tract was there at that time or was built thereafter, but this lease definitely gives the city and the public the right to use the tract that is described in it.
To my knowledge, there is no track.
There is no tract?
Is that right?
Any other questions?
Is that what this is? We can show you the entire contract because the city manager and I were just looking at Exhibit B, and it looks like there was a depiction of a track going all the way around the leased area.
Okay. That's what I was referring to.
Okay.
Councilmember Curtis, there's a frown.
Yes, I'm trying to understand it. To me, it seems like just because it says we can use the track, if the track, in fact, is part of the master use plan, it could be eventually built, and it would be usable by us. It doesn't seem like it clearly connects that it must be built now. So to me, it sounds like Debbie Bent sort of said that it's part of the facility master use plan, and when it happens, we'll get to use it. It doesn't seem like there's an implication that it be built on any schedule, unless I'm confused.
I mean, on that basis, if that were the basis, then there would be, why would it even be in the lease? Because there's no, because it specifically outlines Exhibit A and Exhibit B, which are to be constructed. So, well, the ball fields were in to be, and so I think the expectation when it says here for certain athletic fields and track, then I think if you're going to take one, you take the other. It's and, not and, maybe.
Probably a legal question.
We'd like to research it more and get back to you if
Yeah.
that's all right.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? So, then we're looking for a motion to adopt resolution number. We're looking for a motion to adopt resolution number 15-254, approving amendment number 1 to the Bastyr Ballfield lease agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Curtis?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Danuski?
Yes.
Councilmember Sperry?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Van Ness?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Herbig?
Yes.
7-0.
All right, next item in front of us is adopt resolution number 15-262, authorizing grant funding application to the Recreation and Conservation Office Youth Athletic Facilities Program. Mrs. Bent.
Thank you. In order for this application to go forward, part of the process requires a resolution, and so being as a deadline to submit the application is July 1st, this is Council's last opportunity. So apologise for bringing this forward at the last minute, but in the past you have supported providing improvements at Moorlands, especially the athletic field, so we felt it was appropriate to bring it forward this evening, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Councilmember Danuski.
So in the CIP for grants on Moorlands, we had, like, I think it was in 2018, there was 500,000, what we were hoping for. But this grant is actually, we're going for less than that.
Well, if you recall, in 2014 we did actually submit a grant to RCO to complete the full improvements at Moorlands, and right now with the legislature waiting for that decision whether it will be funding that would support that grant application. We originally thought that we were kind of low down in the ranking, but we've heard that if the funds become available through the legislature, we may actually get funding to do the full park improvements, in which case that project would be moving forward next year. In the meantime, this year, if funds become available in this category with the RCO, just for athletic fields, we also want to make sure we submit an application for that. And then if we're lucky, we might get both grants. And I think we're able to use both grant funds if we're lucky to get them. So that's sort of where we are right now. We're still waiting on the full grant for the full park improvements, and this one is just for the ball field. If we are successful in this, we would have to adjust the CIP to move those funds up if we're successful in getting either grant.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, Chair will entertain a motion to adopt resolution number 15-262, authorizing grant funding application to the Recreation Conservation Office Youth Athletic Facilities Program.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Herbig?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Curtis?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Van Ness?
Yes.
Councilmember Sperry?
Yes.
Councilmember Danuski?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
7-0.
All right. Staff report. Mr. Carlindsey.
I just want to thank Debbie Bent and Rod Casaguma for turning on a dime and working so quickly on these agreements that you passed tonight regarding Bastille. Dr. Church and Mr. Sheldon and I reached an agreement just earlier this month, and we had to throw all this together pretty darn quick. So Debbie and Rod did a great job working with their counterparts at Bastille and making this all happen. And it's an example of the agility that our organization has. That's all I have.
Thank you. Comments, reports. Councilmember Smith, welcome back.
Thank you.
Going to miss the tales of your adventures, I'll tell you.
Well, it's good to be back, and it's nice and cool in here, so it even feels better. But also, I'd like to thank Bastille and for everything they've done working with this and being able to move quickly, and to get another 5 years is another 5 years. It's still a short-term solution, but I really appreciate the fact we can do this, so that's very nice, and it's just good to be back. Thank you.
Councilmember Sperry.
Well, I just wanted to say thanks to our citizen co-creators for the event Why I Love Kenmore on Saturday, and it was just great. It was great, and particularly to Councilmember Danuski with the drive-in movie. Those are adorable pictures, and I don't know who had more fun, the kids or the parents, but anyway, it looked great. Thank you.
Councilmember Curtis.
Today is our 41st anniversary, and I'm thankful for a very short meeting.
Councilmember Herbig.
Last week, I attended with the city manager and a couple staff a Vision Zero workshop being put on by Cascade Bicycle Club that I think gave us a lot to think about and a lot just going forward gave us a lot to build off of. We were ahead of the curve of a lot of cities by having our Target Zero as part of our comp plan. So that was a good sign, and there's still more to do though. Later that night, I then attended the Sound Transit meeting, the open house, and I had good conversations with Mayor Balducci and with Mayor Butler about our needs in Sound Transit 3. Both were receptive, but they have a lot of priorities they're trying to figure out, and it sounds like the two of them, along with Mayor Marchione, are going to be putting together a list of East Side priorities, and we fall into this kind of gray area between the East and the West, so it's important that we keep waving the flag to make sure that we don't get lost in the middle of all of this. So it was a good meeting, though.
Councilmember Danuski.
No, we had a great Why I Love Kenmore summer party. Lots of people, both at the Cardboard Fort and at the street fair. So it's very fun to be in Kenmore last Saturday.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Yeah, I drove by and saw the crowd, and everybody seemed to be having a great time. It was a good function. David and I the mayor and I were over in Wenatchee this last week at the Association of Washington Cities meeting, along with our assistant city manager, Nancy Owsley. And City of Kenmore was presented the Municipal Excellence Award for the third year in a row for the coolest city hall. We also were awarded the Well City Award, along with a bunch of other cities, but not everybody in the state is a well city. So we've been doing that for several years in a row. And I think one of the highlights of the whole meeting was a program that our mayor and, what was her name from Let's Move, presented, Jessica? Molly. Presented one of the workshop programs on Kenmore's role in the First Lady's Let's Move program and National League of Cities program that goes along with that. And David did a real great job presenting what we've been doing in the city to satisfy the requirements for the Let's Move program for the 5th year in a row, is it? Yeah. And there are only 20-some odd cities in the country that have done that. So we can pat ourselves on the back for that. And it was a pretty impressive presentation. And then I ended it with congratulating David on his morphing from the anti-Let's Move campaign poster boy and the weight loss that he's accomplished in the last few years, as well as quitting smoking. So he's done a great job at becoming a healthier individual over the last few years and being a representative for the Let's Move program here in Kenmore.
Yes, I'm a shadow of my former self. But Councilmember Danuski, I mean, come on. She helps me, and yes, I go do things, but she's the one who started all of this.
The person who does the presentations.
You should have heard his praise of Councilmember Danuski in his presentation.
She's the amazing one. She started with a phone call. When I don't know who else, you were here, and I think you were when she came in front of us wanting the money, right? The 25,000, was it 50?
We wanted 50, but you gave us 25
for the playground up at Kenmore Elementary, and I sensed from when she was up there that this is somebody that we need to talk to and we need to help. So.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And she's the one that's been driving, getting us the Playful City grant money from Kaboom, and she's almost single-handedly completed those applications every year. So she needs the credit. She's the one who does it. City Manager, have you found the award yet?
Yeah, it's
Okay, so
on
you
top
did
of my
find it.
bookshelf.
Okay.
Yeah. You want me to go get it?
No. I just, There was nobody here, so I put it somewhere to see if you actually would notice.
It's still in its
You did.
wrapping.
Yes, it is. It was returned safely. Met with Bellevue today. Mayor Balducci was supposed to be there, but I don't know what happened to the schedule. But we met with the city manager, their engineer.
She called in, yeah.
Yeah, she did call in. Their engineer and their government affairs person. So we had a really good meeting with them, and I think they really understand our position, and they know we are out there. They know Kenmore and who we are. So then I went down to Olympia today and met with Representative Paulette and tried to meet with Representative Farrell, but she was pretty busy running around. And I also saw Representative Cliburn and thanked her for her efforts in getting this together. And my understanding, and please, Nigel, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Senate was going to try and vote today, and the House is supposed to take it up tomorrow. So that's the rumor, and we'll see what happens.
The transportation bill you're talking about?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. The budget, they've struck a deal, and the word is they've got a deal on transportation, but there's other things that keep creeping up, so we'll just have to see. Saturday, Mayor Marchione and I spent a few minutes talking about Sound Transit, and then started a canoe and kayak race from Redmond to Kenmore, 13 miles, 20K. The winner completed in a little over 2 hours. We had 6 entrants, 5 boats, 1 12-year-old girl that paddled all the way. She's pretty amazing. And then, thanks to Deborah Shrubnik and Aileen Fisher for their putting this event together on Saturday. It was a huge success. I mean, we had a lot of fun there. As you saw, the beer garden, the 3 food trucks, and Raining Ribs ran out of food a couple of hours after it started. And so it was all in all, it was a great event. I think everybody had a really good time. So with that, if nobody wants to hear about the Purple Torch, we are adjourned.
Purple what?